Hey, everybody, welcome back to Meta Cinema. I am Tim. I'm here with Jake, and we're talking about Dune 2. This review is going to be spoiler free. So, we are not intending to give any spoilers because the movie just came out, less than a month ago. Um, but yeah, so spoiler free. That's what we're going to do with this one. We'll also probably introduce a spoiler version that you can watch later on separately if you've seen the movie. But just getting started here, let's go ahead and go from the beginning. This movie literally picks up moments after Dune Part 1 ends. And Paul Atreides, he's with his mom in the desert. They are getting integrated into this new culture that they have to learn about. And that's really where the movie starts. It does introduce some new characters, obviously returning cast members. You've got Timothy Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson. Oh my gosh. Help me out here, Jake.
Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård, the Baron. We got Dave Bautista again, reprising his role as a Harkonnen Glasu Raban. Josh Brolin, Gurney Halleck, Javier Bardem, Stilgar. Who else? Zendaya, Chani, and
Austin Butler as Fade Rotha,
Newell.
who is
Yes. New actor.
the nephew's son, or the nephew's son. He is the nephew of Baron Harkonnen. And I
Yes.
know in the previous video, we really didn't talk about Baron Harkonnen a whole lot. He had a couple scenes in the movie. They gave a little bit of exposition in the first movie. In the second movie, I feel like there's quite a few more scenes that explain his motives and everything that's going on. But like I said, the movie opens up literally moments after the first movie ended, and kind of takes off from there. This is our first spoiler-free movie review, so we're doing our best to wing it. So Jake, take it away, buddy.
Alrighty. So yeah, Doom Part 2, like I said, is taken right after the first one. So we're back with the Fremen and Paul Atreides trying to figure out how he can avenge his father, who passed away in the first one. The Harkonnens are still prevalent, running things, trying to do business as usual. Um, so this movie's set up with the Fremen having tension with the Harkonnens, who are resuming their role, who are a brutal people, where Atreides and his father tried to come in the first one and have a more peaceful transition of power. Um, so basically, you get to follow Paul and see whether or not he's the Lisan al Gaib, the prophet, or not. Will he lead the Fremen people to glory or Valhalla, what have you, or their destruction? Um,
Yeah, it, it,
yes,
it
spoiler
really
free.
is. I think if you boil this movie down to its most basic components, it's a revenge story.
Yeah,
Paul's father was killed in the first movie, um, basically assassinated uh, by the Baron's people. They had the doctor help capture him, and then at this point, Paul and his mom are on the run, and they're trying to figure out how they can get even. And it's a story about revenge. It's got a lot of religious concepts in it.
lots, lots. Yeah, we could expand on that for sure.
Oh
You
yeah,
learn way more about the Fremen people as well. Tim had mentioned there wasn't too much known about them other than like video files back on Paul Atreides' planet, where they was like learning about the people in the desert walk and some other stuff. You get to see him integrate into that culture more in this movie. Learn way more about the worms, and there's more worm action in this movie. So
worm
if you're
action.
down with the worms like me, you like the worms, you like big monster movies, you're gonna get your bucks worth on the big screen for this one. Also, more about the houses. So you learn a little bit more about the Emperor. Christopher Walken is the Emperor. That's not a spoiler. So you can see that. Search up the cast. I don't know if he's in the trailers or not,
Yeah,
but
he is.
don't.
He is. It shows him, and just so everyone knows, anything that is in the trailer we consider to be spoiler talk. Like if we talk about something that's in the trailer, we're assuming at a minimum you've seen the trailer for this movie, so therefore it's okay for us to talk about what you've seen in there. And in this case, Christopher Walken was in the trailers, so sorry.
Yeah. No, no. Yeah. But yeah, so let's see here. Some performances that we can talk about. Austin Butler. We'll just go with the cast. Austin Butler's in this, like we had mentioned already. He was a previously in Elvis. I thought he was the clown from It. He's really creepy in this. He's not the hunk of burning love or whatever.
Oh, you
Um,
broke up just a little bit. I heard "Hunka Burning Love." What'd you say after that?
Oh, yes, like his Elvis, movie, he was, the ladies' man. In this movie, he's a creep,
He's still a
girls do
ladies' man.
not depends on how you wanna define that.
So
Um
let's see. It does show him in the trailers and in a Coliseum setting. Um, so you do know that he does some sort of battle there. And essentially, he is a warrior style character. He is the brother of Dave Bautista in this movie, who is Rabban
Mhm,
Harkonnen, and they are both the nephews of the Baron Harkonnen, Stellan Skarsgård, who
mhm,
he has a larger role in this movie as well as his nephews do also. There were several characters in the first movie that had like minimal screen time, 5 minutes or less. I'm looking at Dave Bautista, even Stellan Skarsgård. Maybe he had a little bit more. Zendaya, Javier Bardem. They all have wildly expanded roles in this movie to the point to where in the first movie they were kind of secondary characters, but in this movie they are the primaries. Also, you got Timothy Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson in their roles as Paul and Jessica Atreides. Um,
mhm,
just it's really hard to talk spoiler free about a movie like
mhm.
this. Um,
Well, similar to the first one, right, with the visuals,
mhm.
you get to see more, like you said, the Colosseum, you see more of the Harkonnen, culture and celebrations and gladiator battles and stuff like that, uh, which was, I thought it was pretty cool contrast, to kinda like the desert setting, um, and then yeah, what else? It is difficult to talk about this without spoiling too much, but, I would say, more action in this one than in the first one. It, still is a little slow
Yeah,
at parts. I think Tim mentioned
I,
to
I
that
I
to
remember
me when we were watching,
when
but
you and I left the theater, we had the discussion about that. In this movie, okay, there we go. Now I feel like we can kind of dig into it. I feel like the pacing for this movie was constantly shifting back and forth between here's some action and then here's a slow burn scene to get through. And I don't know that the pacing was not what I liked about this movie here, just because of the fact that it did go back and forth. There were several times to where they would mention something in the movie and then completely drop it. You could tell that this movie was meant to be longer, and in editing they had to chop it down. What did this one be? Did this one go over 3 hours, or was it 2:45?
246, yeah, 245,
Mm-hmm.
tomato, yeah, so it's kinda just a little bit longer than the first one, but I feel like I didn't read the books like you did. I don't know if there was um, more they could have put in it, or if that would be too long. But it kind of reminded me we keep parallels between Star Wars. Like I said, we've made a lot of comparisons. Star Wars. There's a lot of parallels with obviously Star Wars being inspired by Dune. And if people didn't know that, we covered that in the first review of Dune One. But basically, like the pacing, like you said, like we didn't like it. We thought it'd be a little bit more action, a little bit, and it was, but it was still much slower. And like with Luke Skywalker and Star Wars, when he's training with Yoda on his back, I just felt like we could have done like an '80s montage or something, and that could have covered like a big chunk of this early on, maybe like 30 minutes or something, and then expanded more. But maybe they wanted to highlight the Fremen people a bit more or whatnot. But what was the pacing that was to you without like giving obvious spoilers?
Well,
What did you?
I can say that when they did the action sequences, and again, like we said, there were several of them throughout. The action sequences were freaking top notch. Like they were ready to do it, and then it's just in the middle they had to give exposition in between those action sequences. Everything from Paul riding the worm. There's a long discussion about the best way to do it, and then Paul goes and they have to bring on a worm, and like I said again, that's in the trailer, so that shouldn't come as a spoiler to anyone.
Right.
Um,
I'm gonna say like, "Oh, I don't remember." So
yeah, but
like,
Stilgar, who is Javier Bardem, that's the character he plays, kind of picks up that paternal approach to near the beginning, I feel, but almost as it bounces into the religion factor of this movie here, I feel like some things kind of get lost in translation. A lot of the scenes with Jessica Atreides, I I feel like those were rushed. It's like, okay, well, here we are, and clearly you can tell that time has passed, but in the book, it's 3 years has actually passed from that point. But in the movie, they obviously did not go with that direction. But I mean,
no.
it still shows that time has passed, but it is not clearly not like it was in the book. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's I can see that
mhm.
because I thought that, uh, her p her position, um, with the
Advanced
president.
rapidly.
Yes, yeah, advanced rapidly,
Mhm. It's
and
almost the
then
equivalent of starting a job as the custodian, and within a month you're managing the office. You know what I mean? I kind of feel
yeah,
it almost felt kind of rushed like that.
yeah, like they
Um,
had to get there
mhm.
for the next part of the movie, yeah, but Javier Bardem, he gets a lot more screen time in this, um, I think Brolin does too, honestly, Bautista, not a lot,
I feel like
much more.
Batista, he got more screen time than he did in the first movie. Um,
Really? I thought he was in the first one more for some reason,
Yeah, he had a
but
couple yelling scenes. Like let's see, at the very beginning of the first one, when they pull them off the planet, and then he meets up with the Baron. He's like, "Why are they giving the planet to the Atreides?" And then it doesn't show him again. Um,
yeah,
he's
it
back in
was
this
a
one. He gets to do battle. I feel like I feel like
we'll
the
go over that too in the spoiler because yeah.
yeah, the action and the battle, it was all well choreographed, visually pleasing to look at. The entirety of the movie, if you're okay with the desert setting, and I realize that this is Dune, that's the planet they're on, is a desert planet. Um, Other actors, we briefly mentioned Christopher Walken as the Emperor. Florence Pugh is also in this movie.
Mhm.
Did we leave any big ones out?
No, I mean, I think we've missed this one several times. Did we go over Margot Finrig?
Yeah, so the Margot Fenrig, and
We didn't even
they
talk about her.
cut in the book. The Count is with her, but she plays another member of the Bene Gesserit, which is its kind of own separate religion there. But it's played by Leah Seydoux, which she was in Inglorious Bastards. She was one of the daughters at the beginning of the movie, one of the French daughters of the farmer, as well as she was in a couple of the James Bond movies, the last two, which were Spectre and No Time to Die. She was the love interest of James Bond in those movies. Um,
Mm.
again, just like Rebecca Ferguson, a very pretty girl or a pretty woman, Leah Seydoux is. Um, but yeah, gosh, again, very hard to talk about without doing spoilers here. I guess
Well,
we
you know
can.
what? We can go to our, rating of who we thought did a good job,
Yeah, let's hit
or,
it.
and then who did the worst performance.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I wouldn't say the best in my opinion. I thought that Austin Butler did a great job. Um, like I said Timothy last time for Dune 1, and he does a great job, but I just thought, like, his transition into this character was superb. I didn't really know him, but, like, I'll know him going forward in movies. So
Hmm.
I guess I'm pretty impactful when I see, like, or influence when I see, like, a good performance. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta, like, keep my eye on this person." And, yeah, like the next movie he's in, like, I'll be, like, more willing to watch it, seeing him in this movie. Like, I haven't seen Elvis, but, like, maybe I will now.
Mhm.
Just thought he did good at it. So when you have, like, multiple roles that you can do, that's what I consider, like, a good actor.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Comedy, drama, like, if you can do them all, like, you're phenomenal. Not saying he's that, but he did really well, in this movie, and I'm guessing he did pretty good in the not the biography or whatever of Elvis.
Mhm.
So I would say he stole a lot of the scenes, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I'm like, "Ooh, what's he gonna do?" Like, intense guy, crazy, no spoilers. It made me uncomfortable watching certain scenes.
Oh, yeah, and for me, I feel like the best actor in this movie, it's twofold for both the best as well as the worst, but I wouldn't necessarily state that both of the bests are equal in the same way, as well as when we talk about who the worst ones were, I don't feel like the worst ones were equal in the same way either. There's different reasons that I would give each one. I feel like Timothy Chalamet really stepped up as the lead in this movie.
Okay.
The beginning of the movie, he's more of a um, friendly character that wants to learn, and then by the end of the movie, he has learned what he needs in order to make things happen in his favor. You know.
He finally acts,
Hmm.
right? Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
he's having that identity crisis, like, that carried into this movie from the first one,
Hmm.
and then, yeah, without spoiling, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
And then Austin Butler, just like you said, his scenes, I feel like he absolutely stole the show. There's a scene, obviously, the scene where you see him in the Coliseum. I think that one was just filmed in such a unique way. Apparently, they used infrared cameras that gave that true black and white feel to it. That it just seemed like the colors popped, even though they were
Yeah.
black and white. They popped more than if you were
Mhm.
watching a movie from the 1920s that was in black and white. And then there's a scene at the end of the movie where both Austin Butler and Timothy Chalamet are in those scenes together, and literally you're sitting on the edge of your seats, even though you feel the outcome of that scene. I mean, you're biting your nails. You're at the edge of your seat. Um,
Sure.
Cutting over to the worst ones. Oh wow! So this is hard for me to say
Oh, really? I
because
thought it was gonna be easy. Oh, wait, I think we might have the
we
same one.
we
Go
might
ahead.
we might. As far as worst overall, I don't feel that Javier Bardem
Oh, no.
had he. I don't feel that he was given the best. Maybe it was the dialogue. Maybe it was who he was acting against. I mean, if you watch him in No Country for Old Men, this guy is flipping intense, right? And in this movie, it's kind of like he's almost there for comedic support, so to speak.
Yeah, he's less serious in the first one, you're like,
Hmm.
"Oh," like,
Oh yeah,
here's this guy leading this.
exactly. The first movie, I mean, he's a dude not to be effed with, and then in this one, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, Stilgar, sure.
yeah, and I might disagree there because I think, like, they were trying to have kind of like the Luke Skywalker scenes with the Yoda training and, like, learning for, Paul Atreides. So,
Hmm.
not without spoiling, but, like, he was kinda that role. He was kinda, more welcoming as a friend.
Oh, you broke up a little bit there, Jake.
Oh, I was just saying, learning more about the religion and learning his assumption, which means he's more religious, and they're looking for the Lisan al Gaib, who's their like prophet that's going to save them. That the Bene Gesserit or whatever has
Hmm.
been influencing because they play all sides and they're influencing the people. So I think like he just had a new role,
Hmm.
which you didn't like, but I felt like it was fine as. But you've seen him in harder roles. Maybe that was why it was hard, and he was kind of also being a badass in the first one. But I think this showed his character development into more of a like welcoming tribe member and trainer than a they're more like democratic people. They're not like
Hmm.
such a like they make decisions together. They have certain leaders and whatnot. But he's not the Furman people aren't as intimidating if you're like one of them, I guess. And he
Yeah.
was like one of those to show you that they're accepting. That
Oh
that's
yeah.
how I saw it. That's
Oh
why I
yeah.
didn't, in my opinion, I didn't think it was bad. But that's my opinion.
I just
So
don't feel that he was given the he wasn't free to express himself in such a way that he had that commanding presence, right? I talk about that in, for the first movie where Oscar Isaac, any scene he was in had that commanding presence. Same thing with
sure,
Josh Brolin when he's in these scenes in this movie, he has that presence.
it
Um,
does. Yeah.
you know who? So we were. I'm telling you about the twos. We did the two best. Now I'm doing my two worst here. Um,
Oh, I haven't given my worst.
give it to us because I know it's coming. I know what you're gonna say. Just hit me with it.
It's Christopher Walken here. No, I'm
Christopher
just kidding.
Walken as the
Yeah,
Emperor. Oh
horrible.
my god! So
Worst pick, bro, for a and for the Emperor. Unless you read the books, and was that the
no,
Emperor in your mind? Yeah,
completely miscast in this movie, and
horrible. I
um,
love Christopher Walken.
yes, love Christopher Walken. Love that dude to death. If I could hang out with him, it would be intimidating, and I'd be scared. And but for this movie, just the first scenes where he starts talking, you know,
Oh, I
it,
was
it just
laughing in the theater, dude.
we
I couldn't
laughed. Jake and
I was like,
we laughed. And it's like this guy is not the right pick to play the just because of the way he does talk. He has there's no other person, as many people try to imitate his voice. There's nobody else that does Christopher Walken like Walken, and
mhm.
that is the problem with his casting in this movie is that he is Christopher Walken. You
The
know,
Super Bowl commercial that just came out, like, a few months ago, whatever, and he was wasn't there a commercial with him and, like,
yeah,
everyone's doing his accent or
mm-hmm,
something?
yep, and
Yeah,
it's been in multiple Saturday Night Live sketches where he has like his whole family and they all come in and they're all talking like him.
yeah, it doesn't work for a movie like this because he needs to play a character, and he's, kinda like we said with, Jason Momoa, like, or The Rock, when you're too iconic or you have, like, your, like, signature or something, it doesn't work. Like, it maybe could in, like, for those types of actors and comedic roles or maybe even, like, action comedy, but, like, in a not saying, like, doing some kinda, like, super serious, Emmy award-winning movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sci-fi movie, but, like, he's goofy. He's a goofy, actor. I mean, he's done serious roles, but, like, he's been around so long, you know? Um, what movie was he in where he played the dad of it may have been in Pulp Fiction or something.
Yeah, he
I don't remember.
was an officer. I think Colonel Kuntz was his name in Pulp Fiction, and he's talking about the watch. And I had to
Yeah,
shove
and
this
he did
watch in my ass for
that's
to
that's what I
get it
thought.
back to the states for who was it? Butch? Was that Bruce Willis's name?
Yeah, it
Anywho,
was Bruce Willis.
completely
Yeah, Bruce
different movie, I know, but
it's been out long enough. Pulp
mhm,
Fiction, cult classic, whatever.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so, like, yeah, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work in this movie, in the setting, in the tone. It was just like, hey, it's Christopher Walken. Like, he gives a fine performance. I think, like, from an acting standpoint, but
Hmm.
just him just not being suited for the role, and like I said, how he talks, like, it didn't seem, um, very Dune-esque, I guess,
Yeah,
like, everyone
I'll
else
be
was
honest
kinda
with you.
limited.
His dialogue and the way he presented it, he did not feel serious enough for this movie.
I think there was effort though, like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
watching him, like, he's, a respectable actor and everything. It just
yeah.
didn't seem, yeah, it didn't fit.
He
It
didn't
didn't make
phone it in. He gave it the actor's challenge, I guess, is the way to put it.
yeah,
But it just missed the mark, in my opinion.
I'm not sure how he got picked, honestly. Like, with everyone else in it, like,
Hmm.
uh, maybe they were trying to see if he would be a good fit.
So
Because sometimes
I can't remember who it was, but I read an article that said somebody had lunch with him and they knew from the get go they wanted him, so they just flat out it was either Denis Villeneuve, the director, or
mhm.
one of the I can't remember the name of them that producers said, "Hey, you want to play this role in this movie? We got it. It's yours if you want it." And that's kind of how it happened. Um,
You know what? I'm still glad he's around making movies. But do you have anybody that you could think better emperor. Like for me, right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody, but like somebody from Game of Thrones, like shoot, it could have been the same guy from Lannister, House Lannister, the dad. That would
Yeah,
have been
Charles Dance is his name. That was
that would have been a great,
crud. I
you
can't
know,
remember his name in the show, but Tyrion Lannister's dad. Yeah, I feel
yeah,
like he could have brought that seriousness that I feel would be more encompassing of an emperor. And
yeah,
he's actually done a role as an emperor before, not just in Game of Thrones. In you play video games, The Witcher 3, he was the emperor in that. And I mean, he's
yeah. How
just
did that work?
yeah. So we could list a dozen actors that I feel would have been better suited for that role. Again, love Christopher Walken. Did not love him as the emperor there. So
Yeah, yeah. All right. So you said two oh that was your worst.
mhm.
Your second. Okay, so we were in agreement there. Um, yeah. So then, what would you rate this movie? And are we there yet for that, or we need to?
I kind of feel like we are being the spoiler free. I feel like I can probably get away with. I don't feel that it was as good as the first movie, but I'm going to be honest with you. Again, now that I've read the book, I have
Okay.
a deeper appreciation for what they did. I still plan on buying a box set whenever they do release that of the first and second movie. Um, but it took such a different approach because it went from the first one being all about House Atreides and what they did to now basically the culture and lifestyle of the Fremen people in the second movie.
Mhm.
I don't feel that, and just with the pacing issues, action, slow burn. I would give it a 72 out of 100.
Whew. All right.
I know, my lowest score yet.
I'm actually gonna bump it up. I thought it was more entertaining. Like I said, because of the things that I like from movies, particularly. The Doom bucket. No, I'm just kidding.
A Dune popcorn bucket.
I didn't even get it. The Denasi, as they call it. No, this is family. This is PG-13, maybe.
That's all right.
Um, I would say a 79, man. I give it like a 75 or 77. I thought this was a little higher just because of more worms. I thought it was cool with them riding the worm, Paul. Not giving spoilers away in the trailer. Um, let's see what else I liked Austin Butler.
Mhm.
Those scenes, the Harkonnen planet,
He stole
Vision.
every one of the scenes he was in.
Yeah, I mean, that was more entertaining. I think he was more of the baddie than maybe even the guys from the first one. I mean, the Baron was in there, Baron Vladimir, played by Stellan Skarsgård.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so and I liked learning more about the culture of the Fremen people,
Oh, yeah.
um, and that we're getting more Game of Thrones-esque. I feel like the first one was such a build of the world, so much world building and lore and stuff like that, that it was kind of like, here we go again. I like sci-fi, but it's just like everything has its shtick, and
Oh, yeah.
that's a long movie.
Oh, yeah. 2
Um,
hours and
I'm like,
45 minutes, excuse me.
yeah,
Um, well, so let's do this. If anyone wants a spoiler talk version of our Dune 2 review, let us know down in
yeah,
the comments. Other than that,
yeah.
what else? Anything else that we missed?
Um, Not for a spoiler free. I would say to go watch this movie. I thought it was entertaining, good cinema, good visuals. If you're Tim's recommendation would probably be not to watch it, or would you still recommend it on a 72, man? That's
I'd still recommend it, and here's the reason why. The first movie I gave a lower score on the first viewing, and then after the second one, I understood it better. And we watched the second movie while I was reading the book, and now that I've finished the book, I have a better understanding of it. So based off of my first viewing, that's where I give it that 72. However, again, I feel like when I watch this movie again a second time, I feel that my appreciation for it is going to go up, and I would score it even higher at that point. But that hasn't happened yet, so I mean, I've got to go with how I felt when you and I walked out of the movie theater that night. And
I was a little underwhelmed,
yeah,
maybe more banana whisk caught up
yes,
the
yes.
score there. Um, yeah, man, I'm gonna probably watch it again too, just to see if maybe it goes down. Maybe I see what you were seeing because like we both kind of were like, maybe when you're just like super amped to watch it, we just didn't get the payoff that we were hoping for.
Yeah, it
Um, kind
de-
of the issue, but
definitely there were scenes that I feel like should have been longer and given more exposition, and then there were
mhm,
multiple scenes where you could just tell that they had to be cut short for the timing of the movie. You
the
know,
third
so
act,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, because yeah,
There's
they
there's some
kinda
bombs
pulled
that
me
they
out of
drop on you in this
reality.
movie
Yeah,
that literally you're like, oh, what? And then it's like, oh, quickly move on to the next. So, but either way,
totally.
we are Jake and Tim from Meta Cinema. We appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Like I said, if you want to see a spoiler talk version of this, go ahead and message us down in the comments, and we'll do it. Either way, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.